And then something, what if that dog sees them? Yeah, the dog. Sometimes I'll take it with them and then if he throws his legs down. He could walk out usually. Yeah, I wouldn't get it.
Forgot your handout.
Thank you for participating in today's meeting. If attending in person, please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room, and please silence all devices. If translation is provided, click on the globe at the bottom of your screen to select either English or Spanish. Public comment will be taken after each item. If you're in the auditorium and wish to comment, please use the iPads located in the lobby or complete a blue speaker card as available. If you need assistance, please find a South Coast AQMD employee. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all agenda items. Times may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. More time will be allotted for Spanish translation that is not simultaneous. For questions or issues on making a public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you authorize recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our Local Government and Small Business Assistance Advisory Group meeting for today, September 12th. Appreciate everyone's participation, and we'll go ahead and start with a roll call, please.
Felipe Aguirre. Rochelle Arismendi. Absent. Paul Avila.
Present.
Jeff Blake.
Present.
Todd Campbell. Absent. LeBon Daniel.
Here.
John DeWitt.
Here.
Bill Lamar.
Here.
Rita Loof. Eddie Marquez. Eddie Marquez, I see that you're online. David Rothbart. Absent. Mayor Pro Tem Blair Stewart.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ted Bui. Absent. Mayor Pro Tem James Breitling.
Present.
Mayor Patricia Lock Dawson. Absent. Vice Mayor Brenda Olmos
Here?
and Chair Carlos Rodriguez.
Here, thank you.
We have
Mr.
a
Chair,
quorum.
I apologize. I am here, Eddie Marquez. My camera is malfunctioning and I'm working on that and my Wi-Fi is spotty. I'm going to work on that, sir.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
I'm glad to have you on today as well. Do we have quorum?
Yes, we have a quorum.
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and move on to action items 2 through 4. And we hadn't had a quorum in previous meetings, so we could not approve our minutes. So since we do have a quorum today, a motion will be required to take all 3 of our previous minutes going all the way back to January. We have January 17th, March 21st, and June 27th minutes here for items 2 through 4. And we'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
For you here.
Second.
Board
Take
meeting
public comment, please.
in the government.
Okay, thank you. And we'll just friendly reminder to please, if you're online, to mute your self until you make a comment. Thank you so much. And we had a motion in a second, but I believe we need to take public comment if there is any. Do we have any public comment?
None in the room, and I see no hands raised.
Okay, very good. Then we'll go ahead and close public comment. And we'll bring it back with a motion in a second. Is there any additional comment before we take the vote? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote, please.
Felipe Aguirre, absent. Rochelle Arismendi, absent. Paul Avila,
Approve.
Jeff Blake,
He's on screen.
Yes,
Blake, okay.
yes.
Todd Campbell, absent. Levon Daniel,
I approve.
John DeWitt,
Yes.
Bill Lamar,
Yes.
Rita Loof,
Yes.
Eddie Marquez,
Aye.
David Rothbart, absent. Mayor Pro Tem Blair Stewart,
Abstain.
Didn't David Rothbart retire?
Vice Mayor Ted Bui,
He's a traitor.
absent. Mayor Pro Tem James Breitling,
Approve.
Mayor Patricia Lock Dawson, absent. Vice Mayor Brenda Olmos,
Yes.
and Chair Carlos Rodriguez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to discussion item number 5. As a follow-up on action items, so we'll have Lisa Tanaka provide an update on our previous action items. Please proceed.
Yeah, Chair and advisory group members, and we actually don't have any action items to report from the last meeting.
Okay, easy enough. Let's get into our next item.
I have a question on the follow-up items, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sure, is that Rita?
Yes,
Good
yes.
morning, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. In the minutes of one of our prior meetings, let me find it. It's the June 27th meeting. Under follow-up items, it states that an email was sent to LGSVA members with information on policy for chairing meetings, and the policy will be discussed further at a future meeting. And I was just wondering if there's a time frame, an estimated time when that will come back to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. And I think staff, if you could take a crack at giving us a general sense of timing.
So we have one last meeting before the end of the year, so that will be our goal, is to try to make that timeline.
Very good.
Thank you.
Appreciate you doing that. Rita, thanks for the question.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, since rules 1111 and 1121, since rules 1111 and 1121 received so much attention this past year, I know that it's my understanding that they're scheduled to come back to the Stationary Source Committee sometime next year, I guess. What is staff's plan, if any, to announce this in advance? I know that all the standing committee meetings are on the calendar, but again, because of the notoriety and the interest that these two received, I'm sure that the public and certainly the business community are going to would appreciate some advance notice of the meeting, that exactly when it's calendared for Stationary Source.
Lisa, you want to take a crack at responding to that?
So Chair, that wasn't actually on our follow-up action item, so I suggest that we take it maybe under item number 9, under other business. That's
Very
it.
good. Okay.
And then also we need public comment, please.
Do you want me to ask the question at another time?
Yeah, we're gonna table the question till later in the meeting. So just hold on to that, and we'll get to it at the appropriate time. So appreciate the question. Okay, so again, we'll move off of the action items that 2 through 4 and get into the discussion items.
Sorry, we do need public comment on that item.
On which item?
On item number 5, the follow-up actions, and there's no hands
Oh,
raised.
I see. Okay, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do that. Are there any public comments regarding item 5? Do we have in the queue or in the room today?
No one in the queue and no one in the room, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll, no motion is required there. We've taken our public comment. We'll move on to item 6. And that is an update on Rule 1109.1, NOx, the update on NOx emissions with petroleum refineries. And we have a update from Jason Aspel for us today. So please proceed. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And good morning, everyone. I'll be providing a permitting update regarding the implementation of our Rule 1109.1. The rule was adopted in 2021 to reduce NOx emissions from combustion sources at refineries and related operations. Heat is heat from combustion sources is a very important and integral part to the refinery process, or refining process rather. And the rule is applicable to about 300 pieces of refinery equipment to establish BART limits. And ultimately, it is estimated that it will result in about 7.5 tons per day of NOx emission reductions. So this rule applies to these 16 facilities. Not too large of a universe, but these are very large and complex facilities, and they have hundreds of permit units and devices at these facilities. And like I said, the rule focuses on the combustion units, which are the source of NOx during the combustion process. And that is what the emission reductions are focused on. So to achieve these emission reductions, the rule was built with considerable flexibility for each of the refineries' operations. Each facility submitted implementation plans for their projects, and then the permit application dates and construction timelines phased over time to fit with the refinery turnaround schedules. So the first part of the review and approval of the implementation plans is complete, and those have been posted on our website and available to the public. There are 2 facilities now requesting to make changes and modify those approved plans, and that is in progress. So the rule was phased with an initial application wave, as you see by the tall bars. We are approaching a planned pause in 2026 and 2027. But because of the planning and precision of this rule, there was a very good expectation on the number and timing of permit applications that would be submitted. And that allowed staff to allocate resources to review these applications. And then also it gives facilities a good expectation of timing on when to implement their projects. So the estimates that you see have held mostly to what was expected. There was some early submittals, as you see in the tall green bar there, for facilities that got ahead of the game with their application submittals. But more recently, there's been some changes of estimates, but those are likely due to the modifications of implementation plans that are in progress. During the upcoming pause, this does not mean we won't be doing any work on this rule. Staff will still be working on all the open permit applications to make sure things go out the door. So this is a summary of staff's progress. Working top down on the left side, these are milestones through the permitting process. And then these are 3 snapshots over the life of the rule. So far in the bottom right, you see 189 permit applications have been submitted for this rule, and staff has acted on 124 of those. And you see in the right column, a number of those are still in progress. For the light green category for US EPA review, you see 12 there. We expect if that process goes smoothly, the number of issued permits should raise in October from 124 to 136. This is an ongoing process. Staff is keeping their same pace of progress, reporting a little bit earlier in the third quarter this year. But we expect the majority of this existing workload to be done by the end of 2026. So this is this regular reporting was requested by the board because of the magnitude of the rule and the workload. This is just part of the refinery team's permitting workload as they work on other ongoing refinery projects as well. So the workload typically is around 360, 380 permit applications. This is the first time in about 4 years that the inventory has been below 400, and about a quarter of these have already been issued permits to construct, and refineries are constructing those projects. Another 25% of the workload has been requested to be on hold by a couple refineries who are idling their operations right now. So as we try to do with all of our projects, staff has been proactive and has ongoing communications with the refineries. And we've also utilized streamlining and templating of the evaluations to help manage this workload. So of additional assistance with this effort was the chair's permitting enhancement program, as additional staff positions were added to the team. And the refinery team is currently 100% staffed to help get these projects out the door. Thus far, for 1109.1 emission reductions, there have been 2.87 tons of NOx emissions per day. But again, this effort is in progress, and there are more reductions on the way as permits go out and control equipment is constructed. So implementation of Rule 1109.1 is going well, and moving forward, staff will continue working on the first phase of applications and the 2 requested plan revisions, as well as the other refinery team inventory and workload. So as staff moves forward on those revisions, we will follow the normal process, and the affected AB 617 community steering committees will be provided any approved plans in addition to posting those plans on our website. And that concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions.
Well, thanks so much for the presentation. Great to hear about the update on 2.87 tons of NOx emissions per day. And also the continued focus on streamlining the permitting process. Again, I do appreciate Chair Delgado's leadership in bringing that topic into continued focus and staff's follow through on generally doing whatever we can to bring the timing of the permitting down into more manageable, realistic timelines for those that are submitting for permitting. Just from the standpoint of your report and the general discussions that have occurred, have there been any general areas of suggested improvement that you've heard from those discussions that are on the table and being considered from those stakeholders as far as improving the process even further?
Thank you for your question. Actually, I think one unique thing about this effort is we had multiple planning meetings before implementation of the rule ever happened with WISPA and its refinery members. So we identified all those issues upfront and tried to get all those improvements beforehand. So moving forward, we have not heard of any issues. We're continuing communication with the refineries as we work through the details of their projects. But the refineries have, to their credit as well, have been very open with us. So things have been going very smoothly with this effort.
I'm encouraged to hear about the ongoing dialogue. And I just saw your next step saying identify mechanisms that can better ensure timely permit processing. So wasn't sure if there was something on the horizon that you were all considering.
At this point, I think it's just regular tracking of the projects. Right now, there are the modifications, so it's staying modifications to the 2 implementation plans. So at that point, it's seeing what gets approved with those plans and the timing of those plans. So it really is just tracking the projects and making sure staff acts on them in a timely manner.
Are those generally within a 6-month timetable, or is that you have a general sense of what the average time of those permitting, the permits that were processed in the presentation? There was seemingly looked like 60 to 70 still outstanding, and I thought I heard you say it was expected that those would be addressed in 2026. So just wanted to clarify if those that had already been receiving permits has there been a gradual decrease in timing, or what type of trends have you been seeing on those permits that were issued to demonstrate progress in improving timing? And give us a little sense of any milestones of timing decreasing that you could speak to?
Sure. First, on the plans I mentioned, those are shorter, more on the period, just a few months. We're working through those. Actual permitting projects, those do take longer months. We have been trying to track those. We have seen slight improvement, maybe a month or 2 improvement on our timelines, but they are much longer projects that get grouped with multiple pieces of equipment. So it's not an iterative process of going one by one. We're acting on these with multiple heaters and new control equipment. So these do take months in addition to EPA review. So we're looking at about 18 months. But again, this is very dynamic. They come in, we work on them, and we're getting them out as the waves of applications come in, as you see the design of the rule. And that's where that important feature comes in.
Is that what would be expected today if you were going to submit an application to be about 18 months?
For a refinery application or a project, a group of applications, I would say that's expected timeline. It could be less for Sure. Yeah, so some, let's see here, I'm looking at the stats right now. We do have maybe about half of those are from 6 to 12 months that we issue. So it's the larger, more complicated projects that take that max of the 18 months, which it does include an EPA review period, which takes just under 2 months.
Okay, my final question here is if you were to juxtapose a before and after of this process and you're looking at the intake time and the process, can you give us a sense of a before and after? Have we seen, now that we're fully staffed, a 10% improvement in timing, a 20% improvement in timing? Just trying to get a sense of being able to have an appreciation for the progress that has been made in shortening the timing in general.
Sorry, we're trying to think of a good representation. We did compare some timelines before and after. Notice about a month or two difference. Correlating that to a percentage is kind of difficult because we do group permit applications.
A percentage, it could be
Yeah.
months if you wanted to enumerate it. I'm just trying to, again, give everyone an appreciation for progress, as I know everyone's working hard on priority that the chair brought up and we affirmed as a governing board to really lean into. So however you would like to describe it, I just defer to you on how you'd like to give us a sense of that improvement.
Absolutely. I would say at least a month, maybe 2. Again, this is a new rule. This is the first time we're implementing it. So that's why can't really give you the baseline of previous implementation, but just comparing similar projects in the past, which have been limited.
Well, thank you so much. I'll open up to questions, colleagues, if you have any questions for staff before we go to any public comment.
Chair, John Dewitt had his card up first.
Very good. Go ahead, John.
My question, sir, thank you for your presentation. Once you have negotiated all of the issues and implemented the rule, what is the timeline on the actual construction at the refineries to put this in place? Do you have any estimates on that at all?
So the timing of the permits allow for 36 months, but the timing is to coincide with the planned turnarounds at the refinery. So when they're shut down and they have their major maintenance periods, that is when these projects would happen.
So are we looking at a couple of years?
It's up to 36 months in the permit conditions.
36 months.
Yeah.
And after this is in place for a year or so, are you going to do a look back on from the reduction in the air pollution of NOx on this issue? I didn't see that on the presentation.
So we're doing that as we go on slide 8. Thus far, we already have 2.87 tons
Those
of
are
NOx
generally
reductions.
what? Computer projections, correct?
Those are actual reductions. For the actual estimated emission reductions.
This is an estimate, excuse me, an estimate.
Yeah.
So are we going to do a real time after you get this all in place and give it a couple of years to be implemented? And then a couple of years that is there a plan to do a look back on what actually happened?
I believe that would just simply be the refineries complying with their permit limits. So if everyone's in compliance, then yes, then the estimated amount of about 7.5 tons per day would be met, and then that could be totaled to make sure that it is in line with the rule estimates.
The actual measurement of the air pollution of the NOx.
Mhm.
What you have 7.5 tons in the district, correct?
That is the emission reductions estimated under this rule that would be achieved through these emission reduction measures.
So have your actual measurements of the air reflected previous reductions, previous planned reductions? Have the actual measurements of the air that I suspect that you do that around the
Yes.
refineries and in some of the local communities that have some difficulties. Are we showing can we show that on the actual reductions and the measurements of the air and the NOx?
So I'm going to answer yes, because once these projects are constructed and up and running, they are required, as I said, to meet their permit limits. And those are required to be tested and in some cases continuously measured. So those are enforceable conditions to make sure these emission reductions are met. And so that would be a quantitative measure.
Is that public knowledge?
The refinery records are with them. Those our inspectors would verify them.
Okay.
I cannot say if they would be publicly available since they're
Thank you.
refinery records. Thank you.
Lisa, do we have any other comments?
No other comment in the room, but we have one hand raised with the phone number ending 220. Maybe Mr. Adder?
Hi, do we have anyone on the line?
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes. Please go ahead.
One extreme dissenting opinion. My name is Harvey Hitter. I'm the founder and director of the Public Solar Power Coalition. I've been coming around here since '85. Okay. 10 years ago, approximately, in 19, actually, it was February 8th of 19, a meeting of the Administrative Committee that addressed this rule, 1109.1. There was an exchange for about an hour with me and Dr. Burke, and a little quip by Wayne. Okay. That discussion is extremely important and has been purged. The public cannot get this online. What happened was, we brought up that there was a Supreme Court decision in 12 that it was the coating manufacturers against you all, went on for a decade or two, and you won. And it said about best available retrofit control technology. And it said it goes back to the catalytic converter, and that law is technology forcing, i.e. it applies to solar and was agreed by Dr. Burke. Dr. Burke said, God knows for how many years you've been coming around here talking about solar. We put in a footnote here, a paragraph there. He goes, to my way of, nobody has contested what you said. He goes, to my way of thinking, the guy that managed Muhammad Ali for 50 years, you must be right. Okay? There was a little quip by Wayne. He goes, no, he isn't right. He can't be doing this. And we said, we put in 100 exhibits there. It was the Sunshot program modeled after the Moonshot under Kennedy. It was done by Obama from 10 to 20 and is continuing and has taken over the market.
Hi, excuse
Okay.
me. I just want to remind the speaker to stay on Rule 1109.1 topic. Thank you.
Please go ahead with your comments. You're currently muted. Okay, we'll wait another moment because we definitely want to have you finish your comments.
Solar is being purged. We want the transcript of that meeting distributed to this committee, to the board, and all relevant committees, that everything that's happening here, 7 tons is something. We got to get rid of fossil fuels. I'm incorporating by reference. Last Sunday, LA Times, they said that we have lost 2/3 worldwide of groundwater in the last 10 years because of the heating and stuff of climate. That's what's real. And we've got to deal with it. It's affecting agriculture and everything else. There's been an increase in sea level of 40% from 4.3 centimeters to 5.9 in 1 year. That's the real. Now, we got to deal with this. We're going to phase out fossil fuels, and we got to do it now. We can do it. This stuff's being ignored. that you're a captured agency and people are dying from this. Lancet says not 7,000 die each year in this state, but it's 150 to 200,000 based on 1 to 1.5 million each year for the U.S. So that's the real, and you just got to deal with it, and that's enough.
Anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll say that what's also real is the emission reductions of 2.87 tons of NOx per day, and ask if there's any other public comments.
Chair, I see no one in the room or in the Zoom.
Okay, great. Then we'll go ahead and close public comment. And before we move forward with our next item, were there any other questions or comments on this report, colleagues? Okay, seeing none, thank you for that report. And we'll move on to item 7, an update on the Go Zero program. And we have a staff report from Heather Farr. Please go ahead. Thank you.
I'm loud, but not that loud. They can't hear me on the line. Hi, good afternoon, Heather Farr, Planning and Rules Manager. I'm very happy to be here today to talk about our Go Zero incentive program. So this program did launch September 3rd, so that was last Wednesday, and it provides rebates for the installation of zero emission space and water heating appliances. Along with that pilot program, we also have outreach included, as well as application assistance and installer training. We do have a QR code up here, what I saw Lisa just accessing, to get to information on our Go Zero program. It's also in some of the documents I gave to those of you in person today. It has links to the rebate portals as well as our outreach materials. Just really quickly to talk about what a heat pump is. It's a zero emission appliance that can be used to heat space and water. Kind of works like an air condition, but you can put it in reverse to provide heat as well as cooling. They use different sources to pull the heat, most commonly from the air, but they also can pull heat from water or from ground. And so this is we're calling this our pilot phase. It was funded with $21 million. Those funds are available on a first come, first serve basis while the funding lasts. The majority of the funds were put into our single family rebate funding with $9 million. We also have $5 million for multifamily and small business. We also put $1 million each in outreach and application assistance, as well as installer training. One of the key tenets we wanted was to really try to get as much of the funds we could into the overburdened communities, those people who needed the money the most in order to transition to these clean and efficient appliances. So we did target 75% of the funding to go into these overburdened communities, which we will identify with Senate Bill 535, Cal Enviro Screen. So it's pretty much a zip code lookup. So if your zip code is in one of these communities identified as overburdened, then you will more funding will be available, as well as higher rebates in some instances. So when it comes to these rebates for single family homes, for the standard rate or the non-overburdened rate, $1,500 to replace your HVAC system or your furnace with an HVAC system, and $1,000 for the water heater. We've doubled those amounts in the overburdened communities with $3,000 to replace a furnace and $2,000 for your water heater. The multifamily is around $1,000 to $2,000 per furnace or water heater. Can depend on how many units are in the multifamily apartment. It's a little bit more of a complex construct, and we do have a cap, so we could try to get it to as many properties as we can. Small businesses is very straightforward, just $4,000 per water heater that's replaced with a heat pump. So just a little bit about our installer training. We did want to use some funds to really get our workforce ready, to get outreach to those trainers, to explain kind of what these heat pumps are, get a little more education on how to install them. It does involve plumbing, HVAC, and electrical work. So we did think it was really important to get training out to all of the communities within the South Coast. So we will have training in each one of our counties. Some of it will be in person, as well as some online training that'll be available, and that'll be coming shortly. And then for outreach assistance, for outreach and application assistance, it was really important. Our board really directed us to make sure that we're getting outreach into the community, like I said, we wanted 75% in our overburdened community. So we want to make sure that we're getting the word out so that people know that this program is available. And then application assistance as well, not just to help people apply for our Go Zero incentive program, but to stack it with other programs. There's many programs. Yes.
A question for you, and enlighten me. In your training programs, does that mean you're gonna get, let's say, licensed professional people like the good plumbers or licensed handymen, or not just, okay, I'll get these 5 yahoos on the corner and teach them how to put in a water heater? What is the real procedure on that? Will the AQMD actually pay for that? Or just a seminar on how to put it in?
There's several different types of training, and some of it is really kind of outreach and education on what heat pumps are, how to size them, how to talk about them. So there's different kind of layers of training that we have. There is going to be like a installation training where we'll have like a 2-day training to teach people how to install them. But it's available to, you know, anybody who would like to attend the training course. Again, we're having some that are available online, so it'll be very accessible to people. So we really look at that training, not only to explain how to install the actual units, but to be doing outreach. Those contractors are frequently the first in line to talk to the homeowners.
Right.
So to educate them on kind of the benefits of what these heat pumps are. So we have several different types of training that we envision with part of this program.
Now, once the training's done and the installation is in and everybody's happy, is there a go back period where you'll go back 6 months and check it out, see if there's any leaks, this thing's working? Do you have a measurement of something like that?
That would be up to the contractor and the homeowner. We
I
will
don't
have,
know. Yeah.
we will have as part of our program kind of a customer survey to get feedback on the program and on the units. We do have a bit of like an audit program for the rebate. So a certain percentage of those units, we will go out and verify and have that kind of one-on-one conversation with the homeowners who are using those appliances.
Thank you, Heather.
Heather?
Yes.
I'm gonna just jump in for a moment. I'm encouraging questions and comments, but let's wait until the conclusion of the report, please. So let's.
I'm almost done. There's not that many slides, so.
Yeah, let's go ahead and proceed with the completion of the report, and then we can encourage any questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so going back to the slides, just talking about outreach, as I mentioned, it was really important for us to get word out into the community, as well as application assistance. There are many other programs with similar incentives. It does get a bit confusing. There's many of them. Sometimes they come and go or they make adjustments. So we did feel it was important to have, you know, a person that you can contact to ask for help that can help you understand what other programs you can stack in addition to the Go Zero program. So just going to go through a few frequently asked questions about who's available for these rebates. And these rebates are available to anybody who resides within the South Coast AQMD jurisdiction. So all of Orange County and the urban parts of LA, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. When it comes to the products that qualify for this pilot phase, we are only incentivizing heat pumps that are used for space and water heating. They also must be Energy Star certified. We're trying to encourage efficient units being installed. And then we have kind of the initiation of them. We're considering the start of the program when those contracts were signed. So we're going to allow, even though the program was launched with those portals that are available, was last Wednesday, we're going to have it a little bit retroactive to when those contracts were signed. So June 24th for single family and June 13th for multifamily or small business. So if you've put in a water heater or an HVAC system after, you know, June 24th for a single family, you can still apply to our program, even though the portals weren't available until last Wednesday. And then for the multifamily system, those are kind of larger, more complicated installations. So we did include a reservation system. So a property owner could go and reserve funds as they're planning their project. We kind of modeled this out after some other really successful multifamily systems that you can go and you can reserve it, then you get your project done. And then when that project is done, you send in your proof that you have it installed. And that's when the rebate funds will be distributed. And again, first come, first serve. Those reservations aren't required, but we highly recommend them. When it comes to small businesses, we did rely on our Rule 102 definition of a small business. It's rather small, so 10 employees or less. with gross annual receipts less than 500,000, or a not-for-profit training center. So we're gonna watch and see how that one goes. We might have to make adjustments. We did make this as a pilot program, so with the idea that we could make changes as we go. So we'll see as we continue the outreach how our small business goes, but we think we might have to increase that a bit to make sure we get good participation. Last couple slides, just another QR code for how to sign up to receive our newsletters. We will send out information as we make changes to the program and we go forward. So if you sign up here, you'll be sure to get any further information. We also have contacts. These contacts are the different third-party contractors that are implementing our program. EGIA is doing the single-family portal. We have Wilden doing both the multifamily and the small business, and then the Energy Coalition, who's doing application assistance and the installer training. We also have our own internal staff who's leading the charge, our Emily Yen. And that is it. Thank you, and another QR code to our GoZero webpage. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions, and we'll start with Vice Mayor Olmos. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of questions here. So when you were on the slide that showed the 21 million and how it's allocated to single family, multifamily, let's say if all the money is used in the single family or it's not used, do you allocate to the other values in the chart? So meaning if the money's not used in one pie, are you able to use it in another?
Our thinking is if we allocate all those funds, we'd go back and ask for further funding for any of those different pies. We weren't really thinking we'd move it around between those pies, but if we run out of funds in the single family, we can come back and request additional funding for those rebates.
Okay. And my next question is for the outreach. I'm sorry, did you mention how the outreach is being done for the Zero program? Like how would my COG cities know about this?
So we have a couple different contractors who will be going out to different cities, different COGs, different even community events, tabling events. So we do have a variety of outreach that is going to be upcoming to try to get the word out for these programs.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your questions. Colleagues, any other questions or comments before we go to public comment?
I have a comment.
Okay, please go ahead.
Heather, do you have a copy of this flyer somewhere on your website? I have a board of directors meeting coming up later this month, and I'd like to include it in the handout material. So if it's downloadable, I'd appreciate knowing where it is.
It is on that probably the QR code on that sheet will get you to our main page, and on that page is a link to that flyer.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
All of our outreach materials are available on our website.
Great.
And I have better copies coming. Sorry, the copies aren't that great.
I'm going to ask Lisa to help me with navigating any other questions that we have in person, please.
I think going down the line, Mayor Breitling. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just a quick question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. If for your outreach efforts, are there who can we call to ask for someone to come to an event that we're having to set up an information booth?
So you can call Emily is a good contact, or you can call myself as well. Yeah.
Mayor, you can also contact myself, and we'll coordinate because Legislative and Public Affairs is also doing community outreach. We're taking it to every meeting and event that we go to as well.
Okay.
So happy to learn about events from anyone.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Blair Stewart here. Just a quick question. The multifamily reservation systems, Heather, how long is the duration of that reservation system once activated by that property owner?
So we have about a 6-month time frame from when you do that reservation with monthly check-ins. That one, we don't think there'll be like less individuals. So there's going to be a lot of one-on-one work with that third-party implementer that's working on it. So as long as you're giving proof of progress, we are going to be flexible with how long it can take for those projects to be completed.
Okay, so you said about 6 months, obviously case specific.
Right.
What, when you determine, okay, this property owner is not going to get this project completed, that money will go and be freed up for the next multifamily property owner?
Yes, that's how the reservation system is envisioned. So if the project doesn't go forward or they can't produce monthly progress reports, then yes, those funds would go back into the pool.
All right, thank you.
Rita?
Thank you, Rita Loof. Thank you, Heather, for the presentation. And following up on the question that was asked by the Vice Mayor, the $1 million in outreach, how specifically is that funding going to be allocated? Are you doing ads? Are you doing some kind of email marketing campaign? How is that going to be allocated?
There is a wide variety of outreach that we're doing, including on social media and on an email outreach, as well as, again, attending those community events, as well as presenting to cities and COGS, chambers of commerce. We're just really winding up all that outreach. We spent a considerable time getting our materials ready and the portals ready, and now we're going to try to do a really full outreach with we have actually 2 contractors that are working on outreach. With one is the idea of more kind of boots on the ground outreach, and the other one is doing more of like a social media, social presence, online presence.
Okay, thank you. And then the $5 million for small businesses, do you have an estimate of how many facilities will participate? Any thought on that?
Again, as long as the funding is available, as many businesses can apply. We are a little worried that we might have carved that one a little too narrowly to get too many businesses. As of today, we haven't gotten any applications for a small business. So we're going to really make sure we're doing a lot of outreach. Great to be able to present to this committee. I think it's a perfect committee to get that outreach out, that there are funding available. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. And again, pilot program, right? We intended to start it at 21 million so we could take those lessons learned and make any adjustments that we need to make it a really successful program.
Well, thank you for that discussion. Any other comments before we go to public comment?
I don't see anyone else in the room, and Mr. Etter has, I think if I am as tracked, he just has a few seconds maybe left.
Okay, let's go ahead and take that public comment then.
Mr. Etter?
Good afternoon. Please go ahead, Harvey. You're on mute currently. We'll wait another few moments. Are we able to unmute him so he has opportunity to comment? Okay, I'll continue to pause, and staff, if you want to give me a sense of what would be an appropriate amount of time before we move ahead.
Mr. Etter, are you unmuted? Yeah, he's unmuted on our end, Chair, but maybe he's having technical difficulties.
Okay, well, we're going to assume that that's the case then after pausing for this period of time. So do we have any other public comments in the queue?
No one else, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and close public comments. Appreciate the different questions of clarification to ensure that we are understanding of the opportunities to move forward and utilize these funds. We'll move on to item 8, which is an update and discussion on state legislation and South Coast AQMD priorities, I should say. And we'll have a staff report on summarizing the current state legislative actions and our priorities. Mr. Crabb is here to provide a report. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Philip Crabb, Senior Public Affairs Manager in Legislative Public Affairs and Media. I'll be providing a kind of overview of the state legislative session, the year that we've been dealing with, which is about to come to an end actually by tomorrow, probably midday. Let's see here. So this is a kind of based on a earlier presentation. So I'll kind of start with it and then I'll move into some of the more recent updates that we've had. So just kind of as a background, we were dealing with quite a turnover in the legislature with 38 new legislators, and maybe the 39th got filled in, but also high staff turnover. So there was a lot of legislators and staff that needed education. We're not familiar with South Coast, with our issues. So that was also a lot of work that we had to put into it. There was also an effort in terms of bill limits. They imposed a 35 bill limit per legislator in hopes of kind of lowering the mass amount of volume of legislation. Don't know if that happened exactly since it was almost 2,400 bills introduced anyways. And so they will have hopefully limits in terms of what they do. This is the first year of a 2-year session. So we'll see what happens next year. Also, just obviously, as you are aware, we started off the year with a bang in terms of wildfires in Southern California. It was a lot of upheaval, also the new administration. There was a lot of uncertainty in the economy, those kinds of things, and a lot of federal actions targeting California, especially in the beginning. It was happening quite often. So a lot of things that were affecting not only policy, but also funding questions on what would be available and not at the state level. So let's see here. So there was a initial budget deal. That's usually how they do it. In June is the time when they usually come up with the initial deal. But there was a projected nearly $12 billion shortfall with a $20 billion structural deficit beyond 1 year. So they were dealing with quite a bit of money that they needed to make up and a shortfall. So they did a lot of creative movements. They did reduce some programs, borrow fund shifts. Sometimes they'll borrow money that they don't pay back. Sometimes they do pay it back. But overall, the legislature approved and the governor signed a budget of $325 billion, and that was an initial budget. So as part of that, there was $2.8 billion in reductions that's growing to $11.9 billion by 2028-29. Also, revenue borrowing and shifting that reached almost $8 billion, as well as fund shifts and deferrals. So what that meant for us at that point, there was also a big push not only for high-speed rail, but also obviously a big push to put funding towards CAL FIRE because of the many wildfires that were impacting the state. So there was kind of a rating of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which is a source of funding that we often use for AB 617. One of our community programs and just funding in general for environmental policies. So in this case, there was a deal cut where $1 billion was going to go to CAL FIRE this fiscal year, 25-26. Next year, it's about $1.3 billion. And then the following year is $500 million and $500 million. So that took a lot of money off the top from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. And that created additional challenges. And at this point, we were basically zeroed out in terms of the AB 617 program, which in the past, statewide, we've gotten about $300 million. And we get about 40% of that. So I will also kind of move on to just in general, a big issue hanging over everyone's head was the reauthorization of the cap and trade program. Now, technically, this doesn't expire until 2030. But there had been issues in terms of just confidence in the system. There was a couple auctions where the revenues were going down. not this latest auction, but the one before that, not even all the allowances were purchased, just because there was a lack of confidence in whether this system would continue forward. So there was an urgency to consider reauthorizing it this year to kind of create confidence and a vision forward, and so that we could continue to generate the billions of dollars that it does every year, and in a way that can be used productively for the state. So basically, the governor had proposed renaming from cap and trade to cap and invest, and also looking to extend the program from 2030 to 2045. And there's some kind of the issues that were kind of being discussed. The cost of reductions, affordability, the structure, will it change, and also how to use program revenues. And that's a big part for us, obviously. And so one last kind of general opening slide is, again, existing right now for the greenhouse gas reduction fund, there was about 65 to 70% of off the top money. And we called that kind of continuous appropriations. So every year there was certain things for high-speed rail, affordable housing, low carbon transit, all those things in the yellow bottom left box were kind of already preset to get a certain percentage of whatever was generated by the 4 auctions for cap and trade. Then there was the other part, discretionary, on the right side, which usually was about 30% of the funds. And in general, an average year might be $4 billion. High water mark, maybe $5.1 billion. And so you had 70% of that going to the yellow categories on the left, and then the remaining to kind of be fought over, on the discretionary funding. And that's what we would get our AB 617 funding every year, but we would have to go and advocate every year for it. Okay, so now, let's see what's on the next one. Okay, so I will now go to kind of what has just happened recently. And so this has actually been a tremendous week for South Coast in Sacramento. After months of advocacy and close coordination with our legislative partners, I'm proud to report that we have secured major wins that will protect and strengthen our clean air programs for years to come. That's starting with the budget. After this started this difficult budget year, AB 617 funding being zeroed out, through relentless advocacy and partnership building, we turn that around. And in the junior budget bills that come after, they'll do deals that kind of our follow-up budget bills that, will work out a larger overall picture for the year. We successfully secured $100 million for the AB 617 program for fiscal year 25-26. So that includes $45 million for Air District implementation funding, as well as $50 million for incentives and $5 million for community grants. And this is statewide. So we will get a portion of that. Usually, like I said, about 40%. And this funding restores vital resources for our districts and communities. And a special thank you goes to Assemblymember Jose Solache, one of our 4 board members, for taking the lead and championing this effort. He was critical and really pushing for this funding, as well as thanks to Senator Eloise Reyes for her support. And the final votes are still being cast, but we are confident that this allocation will be finalized. So additionally, the landmark achievement of reauthorizing the cap and trade program looks to be becoming a reality this year. The program is being renamed Cap and Invest, as mentioned earlier, and appears likely to be extended from 2030 to 2045. There are actually 2 packaged bills that need to pass tomorrow morning or by midday or so, with one being the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund funding bill, and the other that simply reauthorizes Cap and Invest. So through SB 840 by Limon and McGuire, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund budget bill, South Coast AQMD successfully secured an ongoing $250 million annual allocation for the AB 617 program beginning in fiscal year 2026-27. This is now locked in to the continuous appropriations formula from the GGRF, providing stable long-term funding our programs need. AB 1207, Irwin, reauthorizes Cap and Invest and strengthens cost containment provisions, ensuring market transparency and strong revenue streams to support climate and clean air investments. Again, the deal has not yet been voted on, but we are very optimistic that this deal will be finalized by tomorrow. Together, these measures guarantee that AB 617 and other clean air initiatives will not only survive but thrive with dedicated funding through 2045. And just to be clear, $250 million is not necessarily all that we need, but it provides a fantastic foundation, and we can do additional advocacy to try to get additional funding. And as part of the overall cap and trade deal, there were some other minor policy changes made to AB 617 through SB 352 Reyes. And this bill would basically increase reporting and just kind of in terms of making sure that progress is being accomplished through the program. So it would require AB 617 monitoring locations to remain active for at least 5 years with the possibility of extensions. Require CARB to update monitoring plans by July 1st, 2026 and every 5 years thereafter. And then starting March 1st, 2027, it would require CARB in consultation with air districts to report annually to the legislature on AB 617 progress. And finally, it would require the CARB chair and local air district APCOs to appear before the legislature upon request to talk about or answer any questions about progress in the program. So next, I will provide an update on South Coast AQMD's sponsored bills, and you can see those at the top. We have actually, I'll start with AB 1338 Solace. This was a cleanup bill for AB 2851 Bonta from 2024 regarding fence line monitoring at metal shredders. So AB 2851 was signed into law and took effect on January 1st, 2025, and required air districts to adopt and enforce fence line monitoring requirements at metal shredding facilities by July 1st, 2027. AB 1338 was contemplated as cleanup legislation for that bill and would allow air districts to recover costs associated with fence line monitoring from the metal shredding facilities. So we're seeking amendments to allow air districts with existing rules regarding monitoring and minimizing emissions from metal shredders that have been in effect by January 1st, 2025, so already, done in the past, to be able to continue enforcing local rules rather than these AB 2851 requirements. South Coast AQMD would be the only air district to benefit from that amendment. We've worked with the author, some of them are Bonta and relevant legislative staff to attempt to secure amendments to AB 1338. And we will continue that process next year as that bill has become a 2-year bill. And then AB 907 Chen is CARB Board Air District Representation for Fair Compensation. So one of our board members will serve on the CARB board, and currently air district representatives do not get any compensation. This bill would allow them to get the similar compensation as every other board member on CARB. That's a 2-year bill, and we'll continue to push for that bill in 2026. Then we had finally AB 1106 Rodriguez. That was regarding statewide air quality incident response. It would have expanded an existing program to create regional air quality incident response centers that would basically enhance local air monitoring response capabilities. Unfortunately, due to the tough budget year, that bill was held on suspense in the Assembly Appropriations and is now dead. I'll wrap up with a few key position bills. One that's still alive and we've been working hard to oppose has been SB 34 Richardson. And staff has engaged in aggressive advocacy along with efforts with CAPCOA and other stakeholders to oppose that bill. And basically, it would limit AQMD's ability to use its ISR authority with regard to the emissions from the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. So the bill has been amended multiple times, shortening the time the bill is in effect, reducing some of the provisions of the bill. However, it still limits South Coast AQMD's authority and sets a bad precedent. It is waiting on the Senate floor for final approval. And if it does end up going to the governor, we'll be working hard to secure a veto. There are a couple other bills that we did address in terms of position. There was another bill, AB 471 Hart, that provided compensation for single county air districts. And that also provided new compensation that didn't exist before. We were supportive of that bill, and it's moving to the governor for consideration. And then also AB 1266 by Solace required large air districts, including South Coast, to comply with the State Administrative Procedures Act for rulemaking. And we were able to work with some members for a non-legislative solution and address procedural issues relating to rulemaking. So that bill is not moving forward. I will mention two more actually. SB 712 Grove would exempt classic or collector vehicles that met certain criteria from smog check requirements. That we had an opposed unless amended position on that bill, but that bill has died in Assembly Appropriations Committee. And then also there was a bill by Senator Menjivar, SB 526, that would require South Coast AQMD to amend its Rule 1157 regarding aggregate recyclers. We've done a lot of work working with Senator Menjivar in terms of reducing pollution from those recyclers and other facilities in Sun Valley, and that's now a 2-year bill. And that'll conclude my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Really appreciate the thorough and comprehensive report, and we'll open it up to any questions from fellow members, colleagues. Go ahead.
Chair, I see Rita Loof's card up.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, Rita.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. Good seeing you. During the presentation at Ledge Committee this morning, during the state legislative presentation, there was a question about a bill. I think it was SB 79. I know the numbers were 79. I don't know if it was AB or SB, but a committee member asked a question about that. Do you recall what that was? Because I don't know if I heard an answer, but it was not one of the ones that were actively being pursued by staff.
712.
Was it 712 on classic cars? Maybe SB 712?
No, it wasn't, because I heard that discussion. I believe the answer from either the consultants or the staff was that that bill was not being actively monitored by the district, but I didn't hear an answer.
So Rita, whatever that was, it wasn't a bill that we have an official position on, so we wouldn't necessarily be able to address it if the board hasn't taken a position, but.
I see, thank you. And then on AB 1266 Solache, you mentioned that there was a non-legislative solution. Can you speak to what that solution was?
Sure. So what the assembly member was interested in is for rules of a certain dollar amount, and Susan, correct me, it was over 500,000 economic impact.
Oh,
50 million,
yeah.
50 million, I apologize, 50 million. I'm missing 3 zeros. But for rules of that significance, he requested that we bring in the 75-day package, the draft socioeconomic analysis. And so he just wanted that pulled up earlier in that rulemaking process. And so that was something that we were able to do on the staff level, and we were happy to do that.
And how is that commitment made? Are you amending your policies to incorporate that, or will it be just for a certain, or you're just like an informal commitment to just incorporate that as part of your normal procedures?
It's my understanding that we don't need it to amend any sort of policy or something, but it is something we actually, I think, believe had been thinking about doing. And so it just sort of was something that we agreed to do and will be doing going forward. Chair, I don't see any other cards up in the room.
Okay.
And no hands raised, but we need public comment, just to ask for public comment, please.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Do we have any public comment in person or in the queue?
None in the room and none in the queues.
Okay, seeing none, then we'll go ahead and close public comment. And since there aren't any other comments from our colleagues, we'll move off of item 8, go to other matters and other business. And we did have a prior question at the outset of our meeting, so we'll go ahead and reset that question now, please.
Rodriguez, I apologize. Just as you were transitioning, Mr. Etter got his hand up. So
Okay.
Council recommends we allow him to have his remaining.
Let's do that.
Right. Mr. Etter?
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Okay, for the record, I tried for several minutes to buzz in on this. It's being purged. It's happened before. Okay, so that's important. On these heat pumps, that stuff is destroying the ozone layer. They gave a Nobel
For the record, we paused a number of times to do what we could to have you make the comment. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if there's any other comments.
Yes. Other business?
Chair, there's no other,
No, I'm asking if there's any other public comment in the queue before we move off of that.
no other public comments on item number 8.
Thank you. Then we'll again close public comment, move on to item 9, other business, and take the question that we had at the earlier in the meeting, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now that the minutes for the January meeting have been approved, there was an action item on there when I asked the question about proposed changes to the charter for this charter, and staff, I guess, was to provide the advisory group clarification on the process to amend the charter. So my question is, what plans do you have to do that, and would it be this year? Well, probably not this year, but for next year.
Chair, if you'd like me to respond, I can.
Yes, please.
So we're working on the charters for several of the advisory groups, and so we're hoping to bring that back by the end of the year.
By the end of the year?
By the end of the year?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that clarification and the question. And as to any other business?
Rita has her hand up.
Go ahead, Rita.
Thank you. One comment and making the committee aware of an issue that has come up. The district has recently announced that it will be amending 12 new VOC rules or existing rules, but new amendments. And these rules will impact the manufacturing community. The concept of rule bundling is being put forth. The American Coatings Association has opposed that approach, as has RadTech, because many of our members are impacted by multiple rules. So it makes it really difficult to effectively engage in rulemaking. So moving forward, I would encourage this committee to look into that concept of multiple rules and rule bundles, much like the 11, 11, 11, 21 bundle, but now we're talking about 3, 4 different manufacturing types of industries being impacted by 2, 3 rules in one bundle. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments under other business? Okay.
No comments in the
Very
room.
good.
Quick
Oh,
question.
Rita?
Quick question on that was raised earlier by Bill. I know we had the retirement of colleague David Rothbard. Is he going to be continuing on the committee, or is there a replacement for Clean Water SoCal? What is the update on that?
There's no update at this time. We'll update you on that as soon as we have clarification. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to item 10, which is a public comment for any member of the public that wants to comment on anything that's not on the agenda.
Chair, I apologize. We do need to take public comment on other business before we go to number 10.
Okay, I'll circle back to public comment on other business then.
And Mr. Etter has his hand up.
Let's make sure that we stay on topic. Thank you.
Apologies, Mr. Etter actually has used his 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Wait a sec.
Okay.
go to item number 10.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and take public comment on anything that wasn't on the agenda.
There are no cards up in the room, but Mr. Eder has his hand up and he does have 3 minutes under general public comment.
Very good. Let's do that.
Well, I don't understand what you just said. Hello, am I being heard? Hello?
Yes, you're being heard. Please go ahead.
Okay, my name's Harvey Eder. I'm the founder director of Public Solar Power Coalition over 40 years ago when we come into the district. Okay? I want to incorporate by reference an article from Sunday's LA Times about the droughts and the fires and all this stuff. It was done by the National Science Foundation, and it says that 6 out of 8 billion people we're seeing drying in the last 10 years, 2/3 of sub-water loss, and it's affecting agriculture and everything else. It only isn't happening in the tropics. It changes everything. It's extremely important. Okay, there's stuff like this that's going on, and it's not being dealt with the district. That you never evaluated the Solar New Deal, and you purged it, and you had the stuff up 1109 here, and you purged us with that. This is important stuff, and we're trying to get transcripts and stuff. We went to the administrative committee, and they said, well, you got to wait and wait. We've waited months. We got to give you 60-day notice to litigate. You're not doing due process. You're obstructing justice and all kinds of other stuff. This is illegal. It's wrong. Also, we started the Clean Power Alliance. Okay, now that's got like 30 unincorporated cities and unincorporated areas for LA, and now Ventura, and all of the cities in Ventura, and it's growing like crazy. It's the 3rd largest electric utility in the state. It's public power. This is local government and small business. We want to shout out to you local governments that you can become a part of this, and we can extend it to the rest of the district. And municipal solar utilities, which was developed 40, 50 years ago by the SEC and the PUC, that can be done as well. Okay, and that facilitating all these programs, and that solar, that 90% of hot water in Israel is solar, and they built the first solar power plants out here, a third of the nuclear power plant, 350 megawatts, right next to Solar One, at pennies on the dollar. And this stuff is being ignored and not looked at. The International Energy Agency is talking about this, and it's time. Like Ron G. George, who did 30 years on staff supporting this, we work with him. I want to incorporate from the 12th of October Technology Committee support for this and other stuff that we're doing. So we've been doing this for years. Enough's enough. This was done with the Sierra Club. All right, we're point on this. This stuff is got to be looked at and taken. Public power is 20% less expensive. That's the real. Okay, now enough's enough, folks. It's time to be real. Because, we're going to all go out in a melt in the button war. That's what's up with the way truth and science is not being dealt with. This stuff of redefining the greenhouse gas. I want to see this district take a lead on this, and this stuff about taking away.
Okay, enough's enough on that comment. We'll go ahead and see if there's any other public comments here. Seeing the queue. Do we have any others?
No other public comments in the room.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and conclude our meeting for today. I want to thank colleagues for your attention and your continued commitment to our collaborative dialogue. Always welcome your input. And with that, we'll conclude today's meeting, and our next meeting date will be Friday, November 14th at 11:30 a.m. Wishing you all a great day and a blessed weekend. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.